Hey guys, my name is Brian, and I'm a game designer living in Norway, Oslo. I'm gonna make a three-part tutorial about the game engine Unity. The first tutorial is gonna cover the basic interface of Unity. The second tutorial, I'm gonna cover making a terrain in Unity, and the third tutorial is gonna be about animation in Unity. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions regarding Unity, send me an email or comment in the video below. If there's something I missed or didn't uh, explain well, comment on below the video, and I'll try to reply and be more clear about it. To start it all, when you open Unity and you don't see the layout I have, do not panic. That's because I'm not using the basic default layout that Unity has the first time you open it. If you want to use the basic default, you can just go to Window, Layouts, Default. This is default Unity layout. So, nothing to worry about. You can choose from different type of layouts in Unity. You can choose the 4-split one, which is very detailed. You have 4 different sceneries, 4 different views. Perspective view, top view, front view, and right view of your scene. And the tall one just makes everything bigger, just one huge scene. I don't like that one because it doesn't feel so organized. And then we have the wide one, which is what the name implies, just wide scene. And then we have the one I like, 2x3, very organized, and I like it. So yeah, let's talk about the 6 different concepts Unity has that you have to make a game with in the engine. You have assets, scenes, game objects, and then you have components, scripts, and prefabs. Those are the different 6 concepts that you will come across in working with Unity sooner or later. Assets pretty much are the building blocks of all Unity projects, from textures in the form of image files through 3D models for meshes and sound files for effects. Unity refers to the files you'll use to create your game as assets. That's why in Unity, the project folder, all files used are stored in a child folder named assets. For example, as you see here. At the moment, it's empty, but for not so long. And then we have scenes. Scenes in Unity is kind of you should think of scenes as individual levels or areas of a game content. Uh, think of it as different layers. Think of a hamburger, for example. You have the meat, cheese, the vegetables, and bread. Scenes are the same way, they're connected. They make one thing, they make a game. And all the things in a hamburger make a hamburger. Yeah, what a weird example. But anyways, it's the same thing, and I hope you understood that. And then game objects. Game objects pretty much are any active object in the currently open scene. It's called a game object. Which means if you have something here, it's called a game object. For example, certain assets taken from the project panel, such as models and prefabs, become game objects when placed into the current scene. If you understood that, it's pretty much, if you want to create a cube, I can go up here, game object, create a cube, and that becomes an object because I place it inside my scene. It comes up here. I'll come back to that later on too. And then I have components. Well, components come in pretty much various of different forms. They can be for creating behavior, defining an appearance, and influencing other aspects of an object's function in the game. Then we have scripts. While scripts are being considered by Unity to be components, scripts are an essential part of the game production in Unity. Uh, and scripts pretty much deserves to be mentioned as a key concept in Unity. While working in Unity, you can come across C Sharp and JavaScript, and let's see, there are others too. Let's see, create other. Great. Here are JavaScript, C Sharp, Bootstrap, yeah, and so on. Those are three different scripts you can use. Scripts you can use in Unity. If I'm mistaken, just comment me on that. But that's all the scripts I know about and have played with. Yeah, and then you have prefabs. An example. Consider a crate as an example. You may have given the object in the game a mass and written scripted behavior for its destruction. And chances are you'll want to use this object more than once in a game. And perhaps even in games other than the one it was designed for. If you understood that. I can go through it again. Prefabs are kind of easy way to store values in. For example, if you have designed a burning tank with mass and destruction behavior, and you want to use the same thing again in another game, you just put it in a prefab. You just create an empty game object and then put it in a prefab. That's called a prefab, the empty game object that has all the values and variables and the behavior. That's called prefabs. Because prefabs allow you to store the objects complete with the components and current configurations. If you understood that. Those were all the 6 different concepts to make a game in Unity. So yeah, let's start talking about the interface. For example, here, this window here is called scene. Here's where the game is constructed, and this window here is called the game window, the preview window. This window is only active in play mode. When you hit this button here, it will become active. And then you have the hierarchy folder screen over here. Here pretty much are the list of game objects that you'll be using creating the game. A game in the scene you'll create for, which we will do later. And then we have the inspector over here. The inspector is currently just a screen for settings for selected assets or selected objects. For example, if I click on this object here, which is my camera, main camera, you can see its settings over here, which you can change around with, play around with, but we'll not do that now. And then we have the project screen, project folder over here. And the project folder is pretty much the library for everything you're going to use in your game. That's why the asset folder is here. The asset folder is pretty much the child folder of the project folder. There's nothing in here just yet, but we'll come back to that later. And then you have the control tools in Unity. The scene window is up here with the scene window. We have 4 different control tools. You may have seen some similar control tools like in Unreal Editor, and 3ds Max, 3D programs and such and so on. Those are quite similar with this one. The first controller tool is the hand tool. This tool allows navigation of the scene window. It allows you to drag around in the scene window, drag stuff around. If you want to zoom in an object, just scroll your mouse. And then you have your translate tool. This is your active selection tool. as you can completely interact with the scene window, as you can see. You can use this tool to move around your game objects in your scene in Unity. And this is the rotate tool. As the name says, it rotates the game objects. Whee! As you can see here. Yep. And then you have the scale tool, as the name implies. Again, this tool works as the same as the translate tool and the rotate tool. It just adjusts the size or scale of an object using visual handles like this one. As you can see, the values are different now. But we don't want that. Yeah, so add the values to 0 like that. Well, one, the scale is 1. There you go. Position to 0. There you go. Nice and steady. Hope you understood that. That was the control tools. Then we have the control bar, which is here under the control tools. Because in addition to the control tools, there's also a bar for additional options to help you work with your Unity scenes, which are these. Yeah. And now let's make something. Let's make a scene in Unity. Let's make our first scene ever in Unity. Okay, let's do something. Okay. Let's make a game object. Our first game object. Let's make a ground. Yeah, let's make a ground. Let's make a scene. Okay, game object. You click on the game object, create other. Let's make a cube. Create cube. Look at this. Here's a cube in our game window. It doesn't do anything, but we're gonna make a ground out of it. Make it beautiful. And by the way, if you're wondering if these tools have hotkeys, they do. Q is the hand tool. The translation tool, the translate tool has the hotkey W, and the rotate tool has the hotkey E, and the scale tool has the hotkey R. See? So yeah, we're gonna make a ground first. I'm gonna scale it up to 20, and the height 0.1, and the width 20. Look, R2. Cool. Okay, now I want to make the camera look good. I want to make the camera to look what I'm looking at. As you can see, the camera preview over here. This is kind of our eye and how thing looks and how you look at things in the game window and how camera looks at it. So I want to make the camera look at the things I look. So I'm just going to go here, game object, and align with the view. Did you see that? In the game window, it just aligned with my view. Awesome. But I want to make another object. I want to have light, and I want to have skies over here. What do we do then? First of all, let's use our assets. Let's import our package. Let's import something. Let's import something we can use in our scene to make it pretty. So I'm gonna import something called skyboxes. It takes some time, but meanwhile, skyboxes pretty much are a visual way of presenting sky, simulating sky for the player to make it feel more realistic. Takes a little time. Here we go. There we go. As you see, Now the standard assets appeared in the assets folder. And here's the skyboxes. You can use all of this one, all of these sky different textures, but we're gonna go over here in order to use them. Edit, render settings, skybox material. There's nothing there yet, so we're gonna add something to the sky. So let's see. Let's add a beautiful sky. Let's add this. Yeah, this looks nice. Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah, I'll use this one. And then I'm gonna add. Sweet. There you go. There. Looks nice. Okay, I want to make. I'm gonna name my game object cube. I'm gonna name it to ground, so it becomes more organized. Ground. Let's see. There you go. That's the ground. Let's see. Let's play off this scene and see what happens. But first, we need to have the ability to move around while we're in game, to kind of look around. And we can do this by importing another assets called scripts. We can make our own scripts by going, as you saw me do, by going over here. Sorry. By going here. Create assets, create scripts, create blue scripts, yellow scripts, and so on. But if you don't like programming, Unity is your friend if you hate programming. But you can do it if you want to. But if you don't like programming, Unity has something called standard assets, which comes with Unity. You can just go on assets and import a package that has the character controllers. We're gonna do that right now, and import everything. Just a little time, and let's see. Scripts, mouse look. We'll give this we'll give this mouse look over to the camera, main camera, which becomes now a component. As you can see, the mouse look is now assigned as a component for the camera, main camera. And if you play off the script, and if you play off the scene, play off our current project, something like this. See, look. We can move around. We can walk around. You can see. See this guy, beautiful. And if you want to save your current scene, if you want to save everything you've done to now, just go over to File, Save Scene, and just call it tutorial 1 scene. No. Scene. Now it's saved. That was my first tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'm gonna make a terrain for you guys. I'm gonna add terrain. I'm gonna add water, and I'm gonna add trees for you guys. You're gonna see how that works. I'm gonna make an island, pretty much, and a playable character moving around in our island. So see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, send me an email. Ask a lot of questions. Correct me if I was wrong. If I forgot something. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in a week. Bye bye.